Hello friends, welcome to Shiksharthi. In this video, we'll be talking about relations or relationships. So let's start. Now, in the very first place, when we talk about relations, let us try and understand the fields the fields that we talk about when we talk about establishing a relationship between, let's say, one another or each other. I hope you are aware of the fact that we use the word each other when we talk about two things, relatively two things, and we talk about one another when we talk about three or more things, but this is known as reciprocation. Let's say a reciprocal pronoun. Okay, so now when we are able to give a name to let's say a logical connect between two individuals, that is something that is known to be a relation between two individuals. When we are unable to give a name, that means those two individuals or more than two individuals are not connected or related to each other. So there is a terminology like related and connected. So I'm just writing out these two words here: related, connected. So now, what are the various fields when we talk about relationships? So we are talking about a relationship means now these people are either related to each other or they are connected with each other. In short, they are known to each other. So let's put it like this. Can I say the word relation or connection is just like saying they are known to each other? And the next thing that I can use here is they are not known to each other. So a relationship can be established only when they are known to each other. And we are not talking about the not knowns. They are not known to each other. So coming back, so we are talking about relationships. These are the various fields wherein we can establish a relationship between two individuals or more than two individuals, either three or more. So what are these fields? Either we talk about blood relations or we don't talk about blood relations. Then the relations can exist either on a lateral basis or they can exist on a longitudinal basis. Just to give you some examples here, what is a lateral relation? For example, a husband and a wife, they are at the same pedestal. They are on the same pedestal. So this will be a lateral relationship. Similarly, a brother and sister, they're on the same platform. They're at the same level. So when we are talking about generation or sides, generation here can be divided into two. One is the lateral generation and the other one is the vertical, which is longitudinal generation. For example, how do we talk about a longitudinal generation? Ancestors, forefathers. So the word generation also can be divided into two parts, as we talked about. One is we talk about lateral generation and the other one is we talk about longitudinal. Now, when we talk about either we talk about lateral or we talk about longitudinal, the next thing here is side. Which side do I belong to in terms of a relation? So let's put it like this. One is, I can say, let's say this is the father side and this is the mother side. So let's say paternal and maternal. So pat is the father side and maternal or pater is, so pater is the father side and maternal is the mother side. Okay. Now the next term which comes here is, okay, these are relatives. When we talk about relatives, then the word like each other or one another comes into picture. I may have only one relative or I may have more than one relative. Right? Next is we talk about kith and kin. So kith and kin could be broadly family members. Either they are very closely related to me or not that close. But general interpretation of kith and kin here is a part of the family, a family which is a close-knit family. People those are closely related with each other are kith and kin. Then you have a legal relationship. Now, what is a legal relationship? It is not that you have hired a lawyer and you have a legal relationship with that lawyer. So one is so now this gives me another hint here. Now the another hint here is we talk about personal relations and we talk about professional relations. I hope you would be making a note of all these things. Now, whether we talk about personal, so when we are talking about the word known, the known people could be personal people, in any case, personal relationships and professional relationships can be known. Right? So when we talk about, as we discussed earlier, when we are giving a name to a connect between two or more people, that means they are connected or they are related to each other. So when they are connected to each other, maybe a professional relationship, but when they are related to each other, then it has to be a related relationship. I hope you got the meanings of all these words. So in life, when you're talking about a relation, you'll broadly talk about known people and people those are not known to you. And when you're talking about the known people, then you will talk about, now these known people, either they are related to you or they are connected to you. Now when they are related to you, you are basically talking about a personal relationship which belongs to you, and then you become the focal point of attention. And then with respect to you, what is the relationship that they share, or with respect to them, what is your relationship, right? And when you say that you are connected to this individual, maybe you're talking about a professional relationship. Okay, next is, so we were talking about the legal relationship. We were talking about legal relationship here is let's say a husband and wife or in-laws. These are some examples of a legal relationship, and this can be contested also. For example, if there is a dispute between a husband and wife, it can be contested in a court of law. Then friends. So now if I see the first 5 points, can I put them under the head of family? Yes, I can. So now when I'm talking about a personal relationship, can I say, so when we are talking about a personal relationship, we are basically referring to family members. And when we are saying not personal, in that case, we are basically talking about people, those who we are connected with. So now the people those who are connected with may be either professional or maybe personal. So this is another now point that I can bring into picture, because now when I talk about friends are those people, those whom you know and they know you over a period of time. And professional relationship is only for achieving some gain. So that is a professional relationship. So we can say that, family and friends is what a relationship can be broadly categorized into. Now once we have done this, these entire 5 heads, we can put it under the head of family. And then the 6th head, which this is the 2nd head broadly, we can say is friends. Okay. Now when we go further, then, so this, we were talking about relationships. So all these 6 points, they cater to a relationship. These are the names that you can give in a relationship, and then you can go and do a micro analysis further. This is a macro side of it. Second, now we can talk about gender. Now gender, there are some relationships which are gender specific, and there are some relationships which are not gender specific. This is how you understand what the relations are. We'll take some examples here to make us understand this topic in a better manner. So now, for example, if I pick up a blood relation, and the next thing that I can say here is not a blood relation. So blood relation or not a blood relation. So now what is a blood relation? So if I talk about me, if I talk I, so let's put I. Who would be my blood relations? My father, my mother. Now if I'm married, so if I'm not married, till that time I would say these, not only these, if I'm not married, mark the words being used, in that case my blood relationship would be my father, my mother and my siblings. Now sibling is a non-gender specific word. because the sibling may be a brother, sibling may be a sister. Okay, so now these are blood relations in case if I am not married. What if I am married? Then is my wife my blood relation? No, my wife would not be my blood relation because she is not born out of the conjugal relationship which arises out of my father and mother being husband and wife to each other. So wife, no, but if I have kids, now kid is again a non-gender specific word because a kid may be a son or maybe a daughter. So I'm just putting it like this. Maybe, let's say, a son, maybe a daughter. Now son and daughter are gender specific words. Siblings also here I can put it as. So sibling in itself is not a gender specific word, but if I use a word like brother or sister, are these gender specific words? Yes. So now are they my blood relatives? Are they related to me in terms of blood relations? Now the word relative itself means a relation. So most of the times you would see that the word relative is not used in the way in which it should be ideally used. Now if I say only blood relatives are my relatives, only a blood relation is a part of a relative, no, even not a blood relation also. Now when I talk about not a blood relation, I can divide this into two parts. One is family and the other one is friends. But a blood relationship would always be a family member only, and that family member who is very close to you. Now a family member who is very close to you becomes your kith and kin, as we discussed earlier. Okay, going further, now these are the blood relatives of mine, and we talked about if I am married. So let's say if I put a sign like here I was not married, so if I am using this sign for marriage, this is a sign that I am using for marriage. In this case I am not married, and in this case I am married. Okay, now another, so we were talking about the symbols also to be used. So I used a symbol like a symbol of, let's say, equivalence. You can use any other symbol also. That does not make much of a difference. For example, there are certain people who would say use equal to sign. So I mean, whatever symbol you use, but you should try and understand that for what are you using this symbol. So here I was talking about I am not married, and here we are talking about we are married, and then we were talking about the blood relationship. Now let's say this is a sign that we are using for marriage. So now, I mean, I do not have any bias here, but this is just, we are just suggesting, please, this is nothing to take it offensive. So let's say if I use a box for males and a circle for females, and this, let's say, is a sign that we use. I'm just suggesting you can use as suggested earlier. I mean, either you use once and for all, you decide the signs that you're going to use, because in any exam, in any format, they are going to tell you what does this sign mean in terms of the relationship. So let's say this is the sign for siblings. Is what I am suggesting. Okay, so here son or daughter, I could have simply used either a box or a circle. Box here is indicative of males and circle here is indicative of females. Okay, and for hierarchy you can always use a table like this. I mean hierarchy like this. This is the table that you can use for hierarchy. Okay, now when we are talking about not a blood relation does not mean that particular member or that particular person is not a part of the family. It does not mean that. What it means basically is, not a blood relation means that he is not closely related to you. I mean, he is none of these, but still he or she is a part of the family. Maybe an uncle, maybe an aunt, maybe an in-law, maybe a cousin, maybe a niece, nephew, whatsoever. And then friends also are not, closely related in terms of they do not carry the blood relationship between them. So these are the broad points which you need to know even before you want to connect with somebody, or you are already connected with somebody in terms of relatives. So now we see that the word relative that we use, relatives, would be what? Closely also close relatives and distant relatives. Now close relatives are the ones, those who are very close to you, maybe in terms of the relationship that you share with them, and then you have some distant relatives, so maybe a cousin of a cousin or whatsoever. So the relationship exists, but it is going either down or it is going either this way, which is horizontal. And it goes, when the distance increases, then we say that these are distant relatives, and when the distance decreases, whether it is this or this, then we say they are closely related. So all of these, can I say they will fall under the category of relatives only? Ideally, yes. Ideally, yes. I hope you really learnt something out of this video, and if you really feel that this video was really informative and it takes your learning to a next level and it makes you get interested to attempt more and more questions on relationships, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. And if you have already done so, click on the bell icon and select all so that you get regular updates from us. If you want us to do similar kind of videos, please do not hesitate and put it in the comment section so that we can do it for you. Thank you so much. Until next we meet, goodbye.